What is something perfectly legal that feels illegal? Walking through, nothing to declare, at the airport and having a nagging concern that just maybe you managed to pack 5 kilos of cocaine, a handgun, several tons of pest-infested fruit and 2,000 cigarettes over the tobacco limit. It's always a gamble, but I've been lucky so far. Driving when near a cop. Everyone in front of me feels the same way. Speed limit of 80. Everyone cruising at 85. Cop car. Everyone shows down to 75. I've had cops tell me they can't stand that. They want to go places too, and everyone around them starts driving 10 under. Having something of yours in your pocket while in a store that also sells that thing feels the same as walking into a store and then leaving without buying anything. No, seriously, I was just checking my checking account balance on your ATM, monsieur. I'm not stealing anything. Filling out government form, I answer honestly, but constantly feel like I'm going to misinterpret a question and somehow commit some manner of bureaucratic felony. Either capture effect, where things you've understood implicitly and without error all your life suddenly become the world's most difficult questions. Does that count as a sign? Are those street lights? Does that count as a car? Am I a human or a robot? I don't know. Bringing home a newborn infant. But the catch is that it's got to be yours, right? Just making sure. IANAL, but I'm pretty sure it's finders keepers. Having a tank as your personal vehicle. Just buy one with a credit card. Don't worry about paying it off, they won't go after someone with a tank. Nobody. This is one of my favorite old memes as well. Walk into an Ulta beauty store and spraying some expensive cologne from the tester bottle before going to your interview. I once went into Ulta and left with a full face of makeup from trying new things. I didn't buy anything and probably would have felt guilty, but I was tipsy. Don't feel guilty, feel disgusted. Samples are almost impossible to disinfect. Taking more than one free sample. I always make sure to bring my fake mustache and hat. That's 4 free samples. Normal you mustache, hat you mustache plus hat you. Driving 250 plus km/h on the German autobahn. Especially when crossing the border from another country, and you can drive so much faster that you're used to from the country you made holiday in. The autobahn is fucking terrifying. I remember when my ex let me drive her car for a while. I pulled out to pass someone just as I noticed a BMW in the rearview mirror. By the time I'd pulled back over into the slow lane, it had already gone flying past me. Truly insane speed. It felt like I'd stumbled onto a Formula 1 track by accident. Yes, and people really floor it. Interestingly, the distance-adjusted death rate is quite a bit lower on the autobahn compared to generic routes. Taking a free sample of food when walking past a food vendor. Obviously they're offering it for free and obviously there are no laws being broken. But I just cannot help but feel guilty, so I stand there after eating said sample and pretend to deliberate if I plan to purchase a meal there or not before slowly walking away once I've lost the attention of the guy handing out the samples. Marrying someone for their money, then divorcing them and taking almost everything. I don't love you anymore, give me your stuff. Ripping off a few bananas before you buy them from the grocery store if you don't want a whole bundle. I once witnessed a friend of mine buy a single banana and I was shook. Edit, my first award. Thank you. I did this all the time in college, especially before going out. It's the best way to get cash back. Only costs like 20 cents. You get your cash back with minimal spending. And you get a quick healthy snack. Going into Costco, eating all the free samples, then walking out. There are people at my Costco that show up specifically for that. I really wouldn't have a problem with them. But they wait for 10 fucking minutes at each sample station and stand in the middle of the aisle, not allowing me to move around the monsieur. That's when it gets annoying. Starting a cult. Stockpiling firearms is a cult. This isn't my original idea, but going through customs at the airport you always feel like you've done something wrong, like, what if I accidentally have a gun? I don't even own a gun, but what if I accidentally have a gun? How would I explain that? Is this pen I packed on the list of banned items? What if it is? What if I accidentally brought a knife? What if I accidentally have fireworks, turning left from a one-way onto a one-way with a red light? Taking many napkins from a cafe, restaurant and pocketing him to use as tissues. Pro tip: Starbucks and Chipotle have the best ones. McDonald's can be rough on the nose. Going into a store to use the restroom without buying anything. Reading most all of a book in a bookstore and then putting it back on the shelf. When I owned a used bookstore I had several reading nooks with side tables, lamps, and big comfy chairs just for this. I'd argue that it would help more than hurt a business, especially if you found a way to monetize it. If you set it up correctly, you could make the atmosphere seem inviting and make the store more appealing by making it appear more busy than it really is. An 18-year-old marrying a 70-year-old, doing anything but in sight of a police car. The postal police parked right in front of me the other day as I was sitting in my car browsing Reddit, and immediately I thought, shit, did I commit mail fraud and not even know it? Postal inspectors don't play around. You were probably right to be worried. Cannibalism, if I am not mistaken. You are not. In the US you can consume someone's flesh as long as they consent. That one guy on here made tacos out of his foot and his friends ate it. Calling a teacher by their first name. Like it's not illegal, but asterisk it's illegal. Accidentally calling a teacher mom or dad. That shit's illegal, monsieur. Turning the light on inside the car when you're driving. I called my mom out when I realized recently, it's not illegal, you lied to me. You know what this woman says? Are you sure? My mom always told me it was illegal. 53 years my mother believed her mother's lie and passed it on to her kids. 53 years. This seems like exactly the kind of thing that led to Aboriginal peoples developing rituals to bathe in mud or bury the dead or something. Centuries from now we'll turn out the lights in our starships because it's illegal to blot out the stars. Going through a metal detector always gives me anxiety, even though I usually have nothing to hide. Usually, walking out from a shop without buying anything. For real, the worst thing for me is when I spend 10+ minutes in a store looking for one thing and one thing, only to find they do not have it. So I end up buying at least a soda. IDKY. It's like I know I've done nothing wrong, but I have some weird fear of being accused. Exact. Especially walking past the cashier always feels a bit wrong. That fear's really there. Connecting Lego flat pieces sideways. Lego says that's actually illegal. Drinking a beer on the street in New Orleans. Adjusting your penis when it gets scrunched up against your inner thigh on an airplane. Buying alcohol for the first time when you turn 21. In the UK you have to be 18 to legally drink alcohol, so when I turned 18 back in 2014 I bought my first pint but felt like I was going to court drinking underage despite having a provisional driver's license. You can drink at 16 in pubs if you're with your parents or an adult. Taking somebody else's full cart of food at the grocery store. You can literally take anything from anybody's cart before paying. Thanks for doing my shopping. Can you get your kids out please? Having sex with animals. Wait, people do that. The Yellowstone Zone of Death is the name given to the 50 square miles Idaho section of Yellowstone National Park in which, as a result of a loophole in the Constitution of the United States, a criminal could theoretically get away with any crime, up to and including murder. Wikipedia. It's the open PvP zone. Nice. Using a VPN. Maybe not illegal exactly, but I definitely feel a little shady about it. Marrying your first cousin. Expressing my opinion on Reddit. I disagree. Walking, driving around a legal recreation state fully aware of the weed I just bought. My dab pen. and a new bong in my backseat, uncovered and perfectly safe from being arrested for any of those. Still can't get over it, lol. Basically the entire unethical life pro tips subreddit. Some of that stuff is definitely illegal, but cannibalism is legal in the US, provided you can find a legal way to get the meat. There was a guy who ate his own foot after having it amputated who did an armor a while back. Yeah, the rules I know about it are: 1. The one you're cannibalizing must consent. 2. The one you're cannibalizing must be alive at the time you draw the meat. 3. The one you're cannibalizing must not be killed by the process of removing the meat. So basically, an amputee whose leg just got cut off can consent to others eating it. Trying to lockpick my own house cause I can't find my key. Drinking Pepsi in a Coke glass. I don't give a damn. Walking around naked in Alabama. I shit you not, it's actually legal. There are some places where it's legal to be nude in public, but you can't disrobe in public.